Hey guys, how you doing? It's Mike from Lumin Lights, and this is going to be a very in-depth tutorial on the use of our Power Mix Mini wireless DMX and battery operated mixing DMX control board. So you may have seen some of the other quick start videos where I show you how to just manually grab lights and get them up and running. But in this series, we're going to cover that. We're also going to show you how to create chases and scenes and link them together, how to control multiple fixtures across the various fixture buttons. So let's get into it right now. Let's start with a close-up of the unit here and just show you some of the layout. This is one of our early prototype boards, so we didn't have all our labeling in place yet, so I put labels where they belonged for the things that were missing on our silk screen. Let's start off with the left side of the board here. You have 10 buttons. These are your these are your scene chase buttons. This is where you're going to store the various scenes that you create. You have 10 buttons. Each button you can store 99 scenes or steps for a scene. In other words, you can set the lights to a color, save that as a step. If you want them to change now to another color, change the lights, save that step, that's step 2. So say you wanted to go from red to green. Red would be step 1, green would be step 2. Then you wanted to go to blue, you would set the light to blue, save it, that's step 3, all the way up to 99. So you actually can do quite a bit with 10 buttons. This little flashing guy up here is our wireless DMX indicator, and this is letting you know that we're transmitting right now because it's flashing red. And if you also notice on the park cans, we have our Power Park Q610s here, they're flashing green on their DMX receivers, meaning that they're receiving. Flashing red means I'm sending signal, flashing green means I'm receiving signal. We'll go over the details of that again in just a second. Here, next to the flashing DMX light, you have labels. 1, red, 2, green, 3, red, green equals yellow, so on and so forth. There are 7 different colors denoted here, and that represents the 7 different channels that you can broadcast on. So for example, if you had this set to red, which if one press of the button, or actually look, we can do multiple presses, there's red. We're on red right now, and now after a second of showing you what it's on, it's going to flash, showing you that we are sending signal. If you were getting interference, another DJ, a band, a lighting production company is in another room operating on the same frequency as you, and all of a sudden your lights start to misbehave and behave erratically, you can change to a different frequency band within the 2.4 gigahertz band, which is what these operate on. Simply press the button once, it'll show you what color you're on, press it again, and you're on green. Press it again, I could be on a different color blue. Now you have to be sure to go to your lights and set the receivers on them as well so that the colors match so they're on the same channel. So I'm going to set this back to red for now because I have my lights set to red. There we go, and now it's going to start flashing. Again, flashing red means I'm sending. If your lights are flashing green, that means they're receiving. If, for example, they are not flashing green like this, and I'm just going to change the channel to a different channel. I got it on yellow. You notice now it's not flashing green, it's a steady yellow. It's showing you that, hey, I'm on channel yellow, but I'm not receiving a signal. And also important to note, when you're controlling lights with DMX, you should always put your fixtures into slave mode. If they're in master mode and they don't get a signal, they'll start flashing red and sending out their own signal. And then if your board comes back in again, if you turned it off for a second, you turn it back on, you're going to have 2 DMX sources fighting for control of the lights, and the lights are going to behave erratically again. So make sure this is always set to slave mode, and make sure that your colors always match. We're red, and now it's going to start flashing green, meaning it's receiving. Okay, moving further on the board, we have here a group of faders. There are 10 faders across the board. Each fader is going to control a channel of your DMX fixture. Now they are labeled on the board red, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, white, master speed, and fade speed. Now these are not always going to correspond to the colors on your light. Perfect example, the Power Park Q610s I'm controlling here today, I have set into 7 channel mode. Channel 1 is the dimmer in this mode, the master dimmer for all the colors. Channel 2 is red, Channel 3 is green, 4 is blue, 5 is white, 6 is strobe, and 7 are the built-in macros. So on the board you'll see that if number one, channel 1 is master dimmer, well here it's labeled red. You ignore this. Go by the DMX chart on your light. So the first several channels here up to white are controlling your colors. The last 3 channels, master, is usually like a master fader or a master control, depending on, again, the DMX mode of your lights. These last 2 faders are very important if you're doing chases or sequences or fades with parkans. The first one is your speed. Now, if you have the lights changing color, the higher you go up on this fader, the faster they're going to change. The lower you go, the slower they're going to change. The second fader, labeled fade speed, in a parkan situation is mainly going to relate to the speed of your fades. Now, all the way at the bottom, the lights are going to fade extremely slow from one color to the other. As you move up, they're going to get faster and faster until you're almost near the top or at the top. They're not going to fade at all. They're just going to snap from color to color to color. So that covers our faders. Right up here, going along with our wireless Dmx transmitter, this is the antenna that transmits the signal. There's a little DMX board inside here. These are all connected. The LED indicator, the board is here, and this is the antenna. It's a recessed antenna that just flips out nice and easy, folds away for storage. Moving further down the board now, below our faders, you'll see there are, let me just turn this down, we're strobing here. There are a bunch of buttons across the bottom here. These are your fixture buttons. And what your fixture buttons means is the actual lights you're trying to control. If you look very carefully on the bottom, each button has numbers. Button number 1 is 1 through 8, number 2 is 9 through 16, all the way up to button 10, which is 73 through 80. Now, what these numbers mean are the DMX channels. This is an 80 channel DMX board, which means you have up to 80 channels of DMX that you can control. So channel or fixture 1, when you select it, the LED light will turn on, letting you know that that fixture is now selected. And it starts, your fixture should be set on DMX starting address number 1, and this button will control DMX addresses 1 through 8. If you want to have a second parkan on a different channel to control it independently of your first parkan, select it, and make sure that your second parkan starts on DMX address 9. And this button will control channels 9 through 16. Now every time you press a button, the faders are going to be controlling that light. So now I'm on channel 9, but fader 1 is still going to control channel 9, which is the first channel of that fixture, which is our master dimmer. Moving further along the board here on the far right side, you have 4 buttons here and an LCD display screen that says fixtures in the bottom left corner, auto at the upper left corner, speed and time, blackout, and program. Program is when you're going to be programming your scenes and fades. You're going to see this LED lit and blinking the way it is right now. Blackout, when you first turn on this board, I'll do it right now, we'll turn the board off and we'll turn it on. You'll see that the blackout button is flashing and the little green LED next to the word blackout is lit up. By default, when you turn on the board, it goes into blackout mode. Blackout mode means that all your fixtures, the LEDs, are turned off. This is done on purpose so that when you first turn on your board, you don't get any flashes of light. If you have programs running on the board before, when you turned it off, they're not going to start up. You have time to look at your board, and once you know everything is set the way you want to, press the button to turn off blackout mode. Now the lights will turn on when you move your faders. Add is a programming button. When we create a scene that we want to save, like a color, we'll hit add, and that'll save a step. We'll change our colors, hit add again, we'll save another step. We'll show you that in a minute. The brightness button is mislabeled. Again, we have to change our silk screening. This is actually a delete function. This is to clear memory in the chases and scenes sections, which is right over here again. And also, if you're adding steps to save a program and you decide, oh, I want to erase those steps and start over, this button will also let you do that. We'll show you that in a minute. Audio is a feature we're kind of debating right now. It's a sound active mode. When you press this, your chases will stop chasing and they will change to the beat of the music by a built-in microphone. Nobody really uses sound active mode that much, So we are actually thinking of eliminating this feature, so it may not be present on future boards. Now let's go to the back of the board. On the back of the board, if you look at it here, we have from left to right a switch to turn on and off your DMX, your wireless DMX. Now the circle is off and the little dash, put the rocker switch to the dash position, that is on. Next to this you have 4 LED lights, which is your charge indicator. And right now I've got red and 1 green LED. I'm about halfway through my charge. You can get about 26 hours of battery life on this unit once it is fully charged. The charging port is located right here in the middle, and we include a little transformer adapter. When you want to charge this unit, plug it in, turn off the power button, which is the other rocker switch here, turn off the DMX switch. Very important, if you don't turn off the DMX switch, it will not charge. And then plug in your cord and leave it overnight. Actually 6 to 8 hours, it should be fully charged. And then once you're done, you can pull this out, and this is battery operated, wireless built in, so you can walk around with this board and become totally mobile. Right here we have a Dmx Polarity Switch. Now that is connected to this DMX socket. If you don't want to control your lights wirelessly, or you have lights that don't have wireless DMX built in and you actually have to run a cable, this is your polarity switch that switches pins 2 and 3 on the DMX connector. Now this is important if you have certain fixtures that maybe are from Europe, where the DMX standard might be a little different, or even some of the American lights, older lights, where pins 2 and 3 are reversed in the wrong direction. If the lights are wired differently, they will not function. If you flip this switch, all of a sudden your lights will start working if it is a polarity issue. And that's what's happening on the exterior of this unit. Now let's get into actually controlling the lights and having a little fun. So I'm going to turn everything on, turn on my wireless DMX, put my antenna up. Not really necessary at this range because we're so close, but alright, now the first thing we're going to do is grab these lights, as they say, grab the lights manually and just go through some of the functions. Now I have these lights set up and addressed such that the first light here is on fixture button 1. That means the light starts on DMX address 1. This fixture is fixture 2 on the button here, which starts on DMX address 9. So let's start with 1. I'm going to turn on my fixture button. Now you see the LED is on. In 7-channel mode, which this light is in, fader 1 is the master dimmer, so I'm going to put that up. And now I'm going to turn on fader 2, which is my red color, and nothing is happening. Why is nothing happening? Well, here's a little troubleshooting tip. Remember we said that when we turn the board off and we first turn it on, the blackout mode is automatically activated. So it's blinking, and you also have the little blackout LED. So that's the first thing to check if you have no control. So we pull this down, I turn off my blackout button. Now when I move my fader up, you can see the red LEDs came on. So 2 is red in 7-channel mode, 3 is green, 4 is blue, 5 is white. I'm going to pull that down. Now if I had all these faders up and I had let's say I make a custom color like purple, which is red and blue. Now if I want to turn this off or kill it momentarily, something's happening, we want to kill the lights for an instant but we want to go back on again, we can either pull down the faders, but if you have multiple fixtures on, you would have to pull down 1, turn off 1, turn on 2, pull down 2, turn off 2, so on and so forth. That's kind of a pain in the neck. So the other thing you can do is you can just simply hit your blackout button if you have multiple fixtures, and turning on your blackout button will kill the fixture. When you're ready, hit the blackout button again, your fixture comes back on. The other thing you could do is if you're just running one fixture and you don't have to flip between each fixtures and you want to kill it quickly without losing your color, say it's a custom color of purple or pink that you've mixed, all you can simply do is pull down your master fader on channel 1 and the light will be down, but you've saved your color settings. Now when you move your master fader back up, your color is preserved. So that's fixture 1. Now let's control fixture 2. First we have to deselect fixture 1 and select fixture 2. Now let's say fixture 2 I want to put on yellow. Now my faders are still up from fixture 1, but what we have to do is move our faders down to reset them and trigger them to trigger the light. So I'm bringing them down. You see the light flash for a minute because as I start to move the faders, this starts to send the control signal because channel 2 fixture or fixture 2 is activated. So let's turn up a master fader. and I want to make this yellow. Yellow is a combination of green and red. So I'm turning up my green and red, and there we go, I have yellow. And now, if you notice, while I'm mixing this, I could be moving this up and down. Nothing is happening to fixture 1 because it's not selected. But say I wanted to, halfway through the job, I wanted to make everything purple. All I can simply do is press fixture 1, pull my faders down, and put red and blue up, and now I've got purple, and then go to fixture 2, and it will automatically deselect fixture 1, and do the same thing, pull my faders down, and move up my blue and my red, and now I've got purple. So you cannot activate all your fixtures at once and change them all together, because when you press a fixture button, it automatically deselects the previous button that was selected. So now let's get into, we've covered grabbing a fixture and controlling them manually. And if you're doing uplighting in a room, in most cases, this is all you're ever going to do. But we do have people who, you know, maybe don't have their computer with them, or their big control board for the evening, or it's a small lighting job and they want to do some color changes. They want to create some custom colors that they can instantly access. And that's where our scene and chase buttons are going to come in. So let's start off with a simple program. I already created something on fixture 1. I did a red, green, and blue. And this is going to take forever to fade because I have my speed set to 0. So let's put that all the way up. But it's going to take a long time for this to fade because my fade switch is down rather low. So I'm going to turn this up. In fact, I don't want it to fade. I want it to color jump. So I'm going to keep going until I'm about, and pull the speed down just a little bit. And there you can see I've got it slightly fading, but it's fading rather fast. If I move this fade up even more and move my speed down, there we go. Now we've got a nice color jump. Now, you'll notice that the digits on the display are jumping. Basically what they're showing is how many seconds it's taking for each change to happen. And the faster you move your, the further up you move your speed fader, the faster these numbers are going to change. The lower you move it, you see it takes a lot longer between changes. In fact, I'm so slow right now, it's going to take a long time to see anything. I'm just going to leave this the way I had it, so it's jumping rather fast so we can just see what's going on. So that was a first chase I created. Now, all my other chase buttons, you can turn the chase off by clicking the button again. It'll stop on whatever program it was last on. Now say I want to get back into manually controlling to set up another scene. All of a sudden my faders are locked. Nothing is happening with the light. I can't get any control. Don't panic. All you do is turn on that chase again and click the add button 2 times, which would disengage the chase and put you back in manual mode. So here I go. Add. And now you see the light has stopped chasing, and now when I move my red fader, I have fixture 2 on. There you go, I got that fixture moving. I'm going to go back to fixture 1, and there's fixture 1. So I have a chase saved already that I created, but now I'm going to create one for you to see. And I'm going to say for chase 2, or scene 2, I want to do a blue scene. I want to make all the LEDs in the room blue. And you don't have to assign each LED to each fixture button. If you want the whole room to be the same color and all the LEDs are going to do the same thing, you could have 100 LEDs, put them all to DMX starting address 1, and with this one fixture button, whatever you do here on the faders will affect all 100 lights. So some people think you have to have a separate starting address for each and every light. You don't. You only have to do that if you want this light to do something different from this light at the same time, or various lights at the same time. But if you want them all to do the same thing, which in an uplighting situation or stage lighting is usually the case, you can usually assign them all to one channel, or maybe to 2 different fixture groups, left side of the room, right side of the room, for example. So I want to create blue. So I'm going to move up my blue fader on fixture 1. Fixture 1 is selected. And now I want to save this to a scene. But the first thing I need to do is add this step. This is called a step, this scene. I need to save it. I'm going to go to my add button. I'm going to press it once. Watch the display. Now the display says 2 because, there was previously another step in there. I want to clear this out and erase it so I start fresh. So all I do after I press that and I'm seeing the 2, I'm going to hit the what's labeled here, brightness. I'm going to hit the brightness button. And you see now it went T000. So that step has been erased. We've got a clean slate. And our light turned off too. So because it's a clean slate, let's go back to blue. Now I'm going to click the add button again and watch the display. Now it says T001. There's step 1. Alright, that's all I want to do. I don't want to change it. When I hit this chase scene button 2, I just want the room to go blue. So now how do I save that to that chase button? What I'm going to do is I'm going to press the add button and hold it down. Then I'm going to press the scene chase button number 2, hold it down. It's going to light up. You can't see it under my finger, but the little LED lit up. Then I'm going to release 2, and I'm going to release the add button, and the display is going to turn off for a second. All the LEDs are going to turn off and then come back on. There they go, and they're back on. Now that scene is saved. So let's test it. If I go back to scene 1, which is my original red, green, blue chase, I did red, green, blue, white. There we go. It's doing its thing. Now I want to turn that off and go to blue. I'm going to hit it to stop it. It stopped on green. Now I'm going to hit this button, and there we are. We're on blue. So now button 1 is our chase of red, green, blue, white. Button 2 is our blue color, and this is on fixture 1 because I only saved programs for fixture 1. Now, if you want to run these programs together, in other words, you want it to go red, green, blue, white, and then blue, and then red, green, blue, white, and then blue, you can do that. You can link your shows together simply by selecting that button. So I'm going to hit, both buttons are now lit up, both chase scenes, and you can see I'm going red, white, red, green, blue, white, blue, red, green, blue, white, blue, so on and so forth. So you can link multiple chases if you wanted to do something a little more creative later in the night. Or if you want to just go back to a blue, deselect your first chase, and it goes back to where you were. Now, let's say I'm going to create another fixture. I want to get out of this now so I can edit. Remember, this is still running because this is a running program. If I just click the button, it's going to stop the program wherever it was. Now it's a single color, so it's not moving. It's just going to stay blue. But I can't edit now. I can't do anything with my faders because it's still stuck in the scene mode. To get out of the scene mode, I need to activate that scene and have it running, and then hit the add button 2 times. 1, 2. Now I'm out of the scene. Now I can pull my blue down and turn my light off. So now let's say the next scene, I'm going to go to 3, and I want to turn on light number 2, and I want to make it red. So I select number 2. Number 1 becomes deselected. I move up my master fader, master dimmer for the light, and then I turn on channel 1. There's my red color. Now I want to save that as a step, so I come over here and I click add, and I don't know if you can see this with the red light shining on it, but I click add. Oh, it says 3 because I had previous scene set from the first light that I programmed, so I need to clear that memory. I'm going to hit brightness, press hold, and let go. The light turns off. This display says T000. I got to reset my fixture, key everything up. There's my red. I'm going to dim it down a little bit, so it's going to be a very low red. And now I want to add that step. I press the add button, and now it says T001. So 1 step has been saved, and I want to save that just as a red color by itself. So I'm going to hit the add button, hold it, press the chase 3 or scene 3 button, hold it, let go of the scene button, let go of the add button. The lights turn off for a second on display and come back on, and now that is saved. And now I can go back into my programs. I can hit 2, which is my blue. I can turn that off. I can hit 3, which is my red. And now blue turned off because in scene 3, light 1 was turned off. It was not activated. So even though it was on a previous chase, it will turn it off and turn on light 2. Now let's say I want to do a scene where I've got these 2 different lights in 2 parts of the room, but maybe I want to make one scene where the whole room is one color. And let's say we want to make the whole room purple. Well, that's very easy to do. Okay, my scene is still running, which is good because I want to get out of this and go back into editing mode or manual mode where I can grab my lights. Again, I hit my add button 2 times. 1, 2. The light is off, and now this one is selected still, number 2. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to turn up my master fader. Purple is a combination of red and blue, so I'm going to turn up my red. I'm going to turn up my blue, and now I've got purple. Now, I'm not going to save it yet because if I save it now, it'll also be saving light 1 to be turned off. We don't want that. We want light 1 turned on to purple as well. So now that's set. I need to go into, well, let's first make sure we got to clear our memory on our step. So I'm going to click add, and it says T003 again. I hit brightness, I let go. It erases the memory. Now let's reset this. Okay, all our faders. Master dimmer, red and blue. We got purple on fixture 2. Now I'm going to select fixture 1. Now fixture 2 stays on because I didn't move its faders. I'm just going to the next fixture, but that one's going to stay where it was. I'm going to pull the faders down for fixture 1 now, which is active. Red and blue. There's my purple. Now both fixtures are set to purple. I'm going to click add. My display says T001, which is good. Now I want to save this to fixture scene chase fixture button number 1. Excuse me, scene chase button number 4. I'm going to hold my add button. I'm going to hold my chase scene button. I'm going to let go of my scene button, let go of my add button. Display goes off, it comes back on again, and it is saved. Let's test it. I'm going to turn my faders down. I'm going to go to 2, turn my faders down. Now the lights are off. Now when you select the scene, it doesn't matter what the faders are doing here. Even if they're all the way off, when you select the scene, it's going to play or display whatever you saved. So again, let's say 3 was my low red over here. There we go. I'm going to turn it off. Scene 4 was my 2 purples. And there we go. And now if I want to alternate, you can see it's happening rather fast because we've got the speed set. Now here I'm going to slow down the speed just a little bit. There's my 2 purples and my single red. 2 purples, single red. That's what I programmed, and now that I click those 2 buttons, it's alternating between those 2 programs, and I can control how slow or how fast that happens with my speed slider. And again, with my fade slider, I can decide if it fades between these changes, which I'm going to speed it up just a little bit to try to get it to do it, or I can see if it jumps. So I'm going to turn off my purples right now, so we just have our red. And I want to get out of this, so I hit add, and now everything is off, and now fixture 2 is selected. I can grab fixture 2 and control it once again. So there you go. Now you know how to link up your board with your fixtures through the wireless DMX. You know how to charge your board and what the indicator LEDs mean. You know how to set up and create chases and scenes and save them in the various buttons. You know how to link the buttons together, selecting multiple buttons to run a show continuously from one sequence to another. You know how to select your fixtures independently and how to program and save each scene into memory. Hopefully this was helpful to you. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us at luminlights.com. Again, this is Mike, and we hope you enjoyed this video.